Right, share one's screen. Definitely that one. Sharing. Right. Can everybody see my screen? I've clicked. Sorry, I'm trying to click on something else. Oh my God, what is going on here? Right, can everyone see my screen okay? Yeah,
Yep.
perfect. Right, so we used to do this and then we didn't, so we're bringing it back. But it's just a shout out to some of the women, and we try and obviously look at different things. Now, I'll be honest, everybody's check-ins this week were pretty fucking good. Like, we were actually, like, Kat and I, like I say, we meet every Monday, review every single person inside of the program together, and everybody pretty much actually seemed like they were absolutely smashing it, which is obviously amazing. That's what we want. So, Susie, I was super impressed actually at just how you came into the program like a water off a duck's back. You just made it look really fucking easy. And I was just really happy with that. I just thought, you know what? We don't often shout out some of the brand new ladies who come in. And I thought, you know what? We ought to, because when you absolutely smash that first week or the first couple of weeks, it can again, you can build momentum off that really, really well. But I feel like you just hit every single marker and it was really impressive to see. So well done for getting stuck in and absolutely going for it. And very similar to Caroline. So Caroline's only been in the program for maybe a few weeks and really chaotic. Son's birthday, a big pitch at work, and still she's managed to drop over £7 in the first couple of weeks, absolutely smashing it again. And it's just so incredible to see when you just grab the bull by the horns and you just get stuck in, you ask your questions, you play your part, you're in the community. It's just really, really nice to see that. And then we've got Jade. Oh, how long's Jade been in the program now? I'd probably say maybe 4 months, 5 months, maybe. So obviously a lot longer in like comparison, but really, really close. I feel like it's no secret when you start this process over 100 kilos, it can feel like this enormous battle, this really big hill to climb. And obviously, we've got to do a lot of work that goes on in the background to the different psychology around the nutrition, the mindset, all of these pieces of the puzzle. But she is absolutely crushing it. Now, Jade and Maria, they're actually together in this program. But they don't usually manage to make the live, so hopefully they can watch this back. But I mean, both of them are absolutely smashing it. And again, kudos to them, that accountability as a couple going through this journey and crushing it. But to drop 3 dress sizes in a rugby shirt in the time she's been with us is just absolutely phenomenal. And then we've also got Lauren, who actually, so we've got a private chat, like Kat and I with Lauren, and she actually shared herself deadlifting the other day, and it was the most magical thing, like as coaches, that we could witness. Because I remember initially speaking to Lauren, and for anyone who doesn't know, she doesn't have the lower part of her arm, and she had a prosthetic that was specifically designed for her for the gym. Absolutely terrified. It was a leopard print. It's super cool, but she was so terrified to use it before coming into this program. And then she actually sent us a video of her deadlifting 60 kilos, which is the equivalent of me, to put that into perspective, with a prosthetic limb, which I just think is absolute testament that it doesn't matter what shape, what size, who you are, what like disadvantages, any of that, anyone can exceed in this program. And it was so miraculous to see. So well done to all of you ladies, but particular mention to these specific ones because you just stood out this week, and we just wanted to give you recognition for that. So now we're going to go into the daily habits tracker. So I spent like we've been building this out for quite a long time, and we knew obviously there were an enormous amount of changes happening to the app, and what we didn't want to do is launch this while it was very chaotic. So we obviously held back, but it feels like the app has settled down again. So I thought, right, we're just going to fuck everything up all over again. And we're going to throw this out and see how everybody reacts. But it's really, really helpful. And the reason for that is because Obviously, we do the weekly check-ins, but it's just nice to have those daily accountables. And we've just put, we might build on this as we go, but what we want it to be is something very quick, very easy. And again, a lot of you guys are either in this process for your fat loss goals, or we might be building, but that daily weight is quite a big part of what we're obviously doing here. And again, it doesn't matter if you're in a reverse diet phase. Like we need to see the data on as big a picture as we can. So that's exactly what we want you to do. Now, I did share obviously a video inside the main announcements page of where you find it. So it is across the top of your screens. It won't allow you to do a day other than the day you're actually in. So that's quite helpful. You can't accidentally fill in the wrong one. And obviously it'll move you through as the week goes on. What we also want you to do, so again, we're putting that water in. We put it in a little bit lower than it actually needs to be, but obviously on the main screen, you can see there is the 3 liters, but 2 is the minimum and 3 is a really great number to be aiming for. It's a bit like some of you guys as well. What I don't want you to do is, because we can't have a different daily tracker for every single person because it would be chaos and it would need to be updated as you move through the program. So it'd be quite hard to do that. Now, obviously, walking 10,000 steps a day, some of you already smashed that. Some of you have been in the program for a long time, so we've built you up to that. But some women genuinely come into the program and they might only be on 2,000 steps a day. We're not expecting anybody brand new to get straight up to 10,000 overnight. But what we're just saying is tick that if you have hit your step goal and just ignore the fact if it says 10K. But obviously, that is the end goal for every single woman inside of this program to reach that 10,000 daily step marker, because it is just the picture of what good health and activity actually looks like. Obviously, again, the 10 minutes of sunshine, getting out is actually really important as well. A lot of you guys have got desk jobs, so we just want to make you mindful to actually get outside. Obviously, we live in the UK. It might well not be sunshine. It might be rain, wind, hail, snow, all kinds of seasons. But we're just going to go with sunshine because it just feels more magical. And then obviously your weight. As I say, hunger levels, sleep. I am tempted to add stress into this at some point, because again, that can be a contributing factor to how the rest of your day pans out. So I am tempted to add that one in, but I wanted to launch it before messing around with it any further. And again, you do have the option to put the notes section in there as well. So that's just something for our consideration when we look at it during your weekly check-ins. So that's kind of a bit of how it works. So let me just move myself because I can't actually read my notes. I'm going to put that over there. So it's, like I say, this doesn't detract from your weekly check-ins. And I think there was a bit of confusion going about in the group earlier about, I didn't understand what anyone meant by review. So I'm hoping we can address that at the end, because that's a bit like, what is going on? But it's not detracting from that weekly check-in, but it is allowing you to just have that extra addition. And what I also really want from this is that education piece. I might have a slide on this. I might be talking too soon. I've got a feeling I am. So oh no, I've not. It is this one. I mean, I've not put enough data in here, obviously, in this test account. It's only going to, so I just put in 69.2 and then I put in 65. But you will be able to see your weight shifting as you go. And it's just a really nice picture to be able to see that. But what it'll also show you, and this is where we do recommend you track your weight every single day. It doesn't really matter what phase of this program you're in. And the reason for that, and I know we've done a training on this before, and if anyone's new and wants to actually see it, let me know, or it will be in the vault section of your apps. But what we did was a training on the fluctuations that you see in your body weight. Weight loss does not just go completely linearly. It's not like a straight line like this. It doesn't work that way. You will see fluctuations day to day if you have a heavy carbohydrate dinner, for example, and you're weighing yourself naked body weight first thing in the morning, you're likely to see that weight spike up again in the morning. And it's just those kind of things that we really want you to be able to identify and go, yeah, okay, you know what? I did go out for dinner last night, or I had a carbier heavy dinner because for whatever reason I hadn't hit my macros. So I just had some more at the end. And you know what? It's just not digested. Or you've not even been to the loo yet. That can be another thing. Or it may well be, like I say, you've gone out for a dinner. It's just really good for you guys to start to understand what can physically happen with your weight day to day rather than just on that check-in. And what sometimes we find as well is that people can freak out because their weight can be down all week and then the day they check in it feels like it's higher again and it's like but at least then we can see that data. So it is really helpful for you guys and for us guys. And obviously as we go through the program you'll be able to see that trend on the 15 days, on the 30 days, on the 3 months, but only if you actually fill it in. So, word of warning. So, the downside for you guys, which is, I'd call it an upside, but when you do this, we will be able to see every fucking thing that's going on. And when I say this, if you, let's say you're tracking your weight and it's all going fully to plan, and then you hit the fuck it button because something in your mind, in your world, in your life derails you, and then you come to check in and go, I've done everything right. There is absolutely nothing. There's something wrong with this and everything's gone right. I've tracked my food. I didn't go over once. We will call bullshit on this, guys, because what your weight will not do is magically go in a massive upwards trajectory overnight if nothing happened. If you go on a binge eating cycle, we will be able to see this. So, again, if you're honest, you will reflect what's happened in your nutrition, and we will be able to directly say, look at Thursday night's nutrition and then look at Friday morning's weight. That is the piece of the puzzle. But if you're going to try and convince either Kat or I that you stuck to your nutrition and your weight suddenly jumped up by a kilo, we're not going to believe it. And we are going to be able to address this and say, there's an underlying issue here. Something took place that specific night. That is how detailed we will be able to get with your daily check-ins in terms of your weight. Again, as long as you're honest, and if you start to miss the data and you don't fill it in and your weight spikes, again, we're going to be raising questions. Why have you stopped tracking your weight daily? Something must be going on. So we're going to be able to, again, work with anyone in that binge eating tendency, anyone that stress eats, comfort eats, boredom eats, anything like that. We're actually going to be able to spot it far sooner than just on the weekly check-in. So again, I think it's going to be a massive game changer in terms of us being able to track the data. But I warn you, be prepared for some difficult questions. If you fall into that category and you're trying to pull the wool over our eyes, it's not going to happen. We are going to be addressing it. So just know it's going to bring a lot more transparency to the process. I've already covered this off, so we don't need to go back over there. But again, just as a reminder, don't panic if you're not yet at the 10,000 steps. If you are highly sedentary, we're going to be building on that, and that's absolutely fine. So we just don't want anyone to panic with that. Let me move this here. So we have also added a few new questions to your guys' weekly check-ins as well that we feel like will aid us better as your coaches. So we have asked the question of your menstrual cycle. Now, obviously, if you're on the pill, that might not be something that you actually need to think about or worry about. It is an open box question. So you could quite easily say, I'm due on next week, or do you know what I mean? And some of you do this anyway. Some of you will let us know that your cravings have gone up or that you are due on, so you think that's why your weight has spiked. But sometimes we don't have that information at the moment. And if you don't share that, or if you're new into the program and you don't recognize that there can be a correlation between your weight and your menstrual cycle, again, we're just a little bit in the dark. So it's just really helpful for us to have that knowledge and information. And then again, we can actually talk you off the edge of why your weight may well have actually increased, and it's not the end of the world. We're asking you to rate your week from 0 to 10. 0 obviously being I've done absolutely nothing and I've become a couch potato. And 10 is I feel like, so Susie, as an example, had a 10 week, I would say. She hit her steps, she hit her nutrition, she hit her workouts. We want you guys to actually self-analyze how you feel like you've got on. So again, it's a really good steer for us to be able to almost put that ball back in your court a little bit, to just be mindful enough to go, yeah, you know what? Maybe I didn't get the results I was looking for this week, but maybe I actually didn't put the effort in either, or actually absolutely smashed it. Really, really happy. And it's those kind of things to just make you a little bit more self-aware throughout your journey, which I think is really helpful. The other question that we're asking you is there anything else you need from me or from Coach Kat as your coaches? And this could be anything. This could be, I actually feel like I need to hear from you more often. It could be, I actually don't want to hear from you as fucking often. Leave me alone, bitch. It could be, I'm struggling to hit my protein. Can you send me some ideas on like other things I can include as protein snacks in my weekly plan? Is that like literally whatever you need, the question is there to be filled in. You might not feel like you need anything. You might feel like everything is exactly as you want it to be. But this question is there for you guys if there is something that you feel like you need additional support with. And we will obviously be able to see that, address it, work on it with you. So again, really, really helpful. And what we might do as well is anonymously share some of the responses that we get in this box, because if we feel like other people might benefit from this, then it might well be that we share that and say, would anybody else like this? And then everybody can capitalize on those benefits as well. So get creative. Like, we're here to help, guys. So let's address the questions then, because there were some earlier, and it was around reviewing the because I so okay, so I was trying to wrap my head around the actual question of reviewing the data, bearing in mind it had only been one day. I was like, guys, there's nothing to review. We've done this one time. But I didn't know whether, because I get the fact that some of the questions, if you're weighing yourself as an example, first thing in the morning, but then you're not hitting your steps until late at night. I didn't know if that's what you meant, that when do I kind of fill it in? And yeah, so it's that people are nodding. So I feel like that could be a part of it. So if you are using smart weighing scales, then your life is probably a little bit easier. And the reason I say that is because they're going to be attached to a digital app. So I've got smart weighing scales upstairs. They're literally 12, 15 quid on Amazon. If anyone wants a link, let me know. But what they do when you step on them, that's why in the check-in we've got the muscle reading, the water reading, we've got the whole breakdown. And again, that's quite beneficial information. But you guys have got the advantage. You step on the scales in the morning, that reading is going to go straight into that app that attaches to those scales. It's parked. You can then do your daily habit tracker at the end of the day when you've done your water, you've done your steps, you feel like you understand the full picture of your day, and then you can just go into your app and you can just put that weight reading in as well. For those of you who are stepping on the scales first thing in the morning, you might need to park that data. You might need to either notepad and pen, like on the floor next to your weighing scales, write it down, come back to it later in the day, make a note in your phone, or if you know you're hitting your water goals, you're hitting your step goals, and you know categorically nothing is likely to derail you. So I have stopped wearing my Apple Watch because it started to bruise my wrist and it was really irritating me. And I don't know why. I just feel like I've come up with an allergy. But I know for the last however many years that I have existed on this planet, a day does not go by where I do not hit my 10,000 steps, because I know my movement. I've tracked it for so many years that I don't want to get the irritation from the watch. So I could put that in. I know I'm going to drink my 3 liters of water a day. I know that. So for me, I could just fill it in first thing in the morning. And again, that weight for a lot of you is the most important part of the puzzle, so that you can see it and so that we can see it. But again, it may well just be that you make a note of it in the morning, try and get into the habit of filling it in later in the day. Does that answer that question? I wasn't really sure.
Um, Sorry, it's Susie here. It's just a quick one. When you're talking about the measurements, is that just on the weekly check-in, not the daily check-in?
Yeah, it would be. Oh,
Right.
can you imagine your life having to
Well,
like
that's what I was, yeah.
to tape measure like your biceps, your hips, your waist? Oh God, every day. Yeah, you're not gonna see on like the tape measure and the water weight and things like that. You don't need that level of data on a day to day. The weight one is good, like I say, to give you the education. And if you've got the app and you've got the smart scales, you're going to see that data. It's just we want to be able to see that week's worth of a picture, and to hold you guys a bit more accountable as well, to go, right, I'm taking my weight daily now. My coach is going to see this shit. So I can't, I can't unrail at the weekends because she's going to know about it. Right, let's have a look. So I think the weight tracker will be actually help me keep me more accountable. As when I first started this program, I wasn't 100% honest, as I did have days or comfort. This is it, Jem. That's exactly what we're trying to do, is it holds you a little bit more accountable, but also, like I say, we can see if there is something not adding up between, let's say, your deficit, and I'm just speaking broadly here, but let's say your deficit calories are 1500 and you're absolutely saying you've stuck to them, and we look in that log, but then your weight is not reflective of that, we're going to be able to accurately pull it back to the next morning and say something happened Tuesday night. Like, let's talk about it. What was that actually happened? And talk me through it, because then we can accurately like address it and see if we can overcome what that issue was, rather than burying it or not being able to understand accurately to the day where something actually went wrong. So this is it. It is designed to help. Do we need to do the daily check-in in the same day as weekly check-in? Will the weight tracker include daily and weekly check-in? So I think I understand the question. So yes, you do the daily tracker every day, and you would do the weekly check-in just on that one day of the week as you would normally. So you would do it in addition to the weekly check-in, and the weekly check-in will not show up on the front screen of your apps. That was one of the things we've been looking at, whether it was going to show up, and it's not syncing from your weekly check-in into that front screen of the app. So the only way that it will show on the front screen of your apps is when you put your daily weight in. Now, obviously, the daily weight of that on the let's say you check in on a Friday first thing, that is going to be the same as the weekly check-in on that day anyway. If there's a discrepancy between those numbers, something's happened and gone wrong, and be like, why did you put 58 kilos here and 72 there? I'd be like, what? So just keep the data the same. We're not looking for a weekly average in that weekly check-in. We're still just asking for the number on that day, if that makes sense. It saves the data. You can it all a bit a time. I have no idea what you're saying, Louise.
No, I was trying to type it.
I'm like, that's not English.
Yeah, no, I've reread it myself. It saves the data. So if you go in the morning and put your weight in and then click to come back out, it saves it. So then you can go in later on and do my 10,000 steps or
Perfect.
that's all I was trying to say.
I did see that actually. Are you clicking that 2 hour button, like wait for 2 hours? Or is
No,
there an
so
actual
when you
save button?
see, it's been on mine since I joined. So when I go into like today, in essence, if I've clicked, I've drank my 2 litres and done my steps and my 10 minutes of sunshine. If you just click the back arrow
Oh,
button,
it just keeps the data.
it just says close check-in, save this data for later. Save it. You can change
Perfect.
it right up until midnight on the night on the like today. You could change it right up until midnight today.
Perfect. There you go. Now you test it out, guys. Obviously, you've obviously been in the beta test, and we didn't know you were in there. So some of you guys might have had access to this for weeks, and we just, yeah. But yeah, that's a really good point. Now, some people just to caveat that, have said the same thing about the weekly check-in, and then they've come out of it and they've lost everything. So obviously with your daily check-in, it's not as dramatic as filling out the entire weekly check-in and then losing it all. So just try that out for yourselves. What I would say is if you are going to come out of it and click that save button, make sure you're in goddamn Wi-Fi. Otherwise, if you leave Wi-Fi, that you probably will lose it. Do you know what I mean? And then the app won't realize and it won't be in like able to save it. So but figure it out. Do you know what I mean? We are in testing phase. It's not the end of the world if we don't have that data or there's a few days missing here and there. Like do you know what I mean? We're building on this. What do you want us to do if we manage our steps weekly? So 1 or 2 days I don't hit it, but make them up over the other days. I would just click that you're hitting it. Do you know what I mean? If you know, again, that's a set like me, like I know I'm going to hit it across that week. And again, the steps are in your weekly check-ins anyway, so that's not the most vital part of our data in that daily check-in because we're still asking you for that number in your weekly check-in anyway. So again, that's just to us, that's not as important. It's just making you guys more mindful. Have I actually got my steps in? Am I actually on track for where I want to be? Have I had a good day? Like it's that kind of thing we're looking for. If we're away from home some days and don't have access to scales, is it okay not to record the weight? Yeah, absolutely. This is it. And some of you guys do travel for work, or if you're on holiday or anything like that, again, that's not a problem. It's just the more data you give, the more we can see the picture of what's going on. But obviously, we're not just going to say, no, go and get some portable scales, pack your weighing scales and take them everywhere you go. Like, we've got to be a bit realistic about expectations here. And for some of you, it will be easier to track your weight every day and you're always at home. And for some of you, it might make it, you might only get 5 days out of 7 or 4 days out of 7, but that's still better than a kick in the teeth as far as we're concerned. I didn't do last week's check-in because I was ashamed of myself. Never, ever feel that way. Ever, ever is like the purpose of the check-ins is so that we can serve you to our highest ability. And actually, it's a very similar saying to, you know, when you don't want to go and do a workout, and then they're the workouts that matter most. When you are struggling, the most in this program is when you absolutely need to do those check-ins the most, because we can't help you if we do not know what's going on. Now, obviously, Josie, I've got a picture of what's going on and I messaged you today, and this is likely to happen. If we don't get that check-in, we are going to be straight on you on the Monday saying like, is everything okay? What's going on? Like, we do genuinely try our best to do that, but please, like, we are here for you guys. This is what you're paying for. And ultimately, it is what you're paying for. Do you know what I mean? That's the point of being inside of the program. Make use of us, like, for goodness sake, and don't ever feel ashamed or embarrassed. Or somebody else said this in a private group chat earlier. Oh, I didn't dare ask this in the group because I was a bit embarrassed. Like, no. This, I categorically cannot stress this enough. This Zoom call right now, safe space. The community chat, safe space. And I have booted somebody out one time ever for a little bit of judgment against somebody else. And I was like, you are gone. Like, I do not care for that kind of, like, we are here to support each other. We're here to be on a very similar journey of self-betterment, health, fitness, and that also comes with the supportive mentality. And if I ever get a sense of somebody's mind trying to, do you know what I mean, say anything remotely disrespectful, your asses will be gone so fast because I don't care for it. Do you know what I mean? We are here to genuinely lift each other up, not drag each other down. And honestly, it will not be tolerated. So please always feel like every single part of this process, whether it's messaging Kat or I privately, whether it's messaging through the group, whether it's your check-ins, whether it's this Zoom call, it's all here to support you ladies on that journey that you guys are on. So honestly, like, please don't ever feel that way. What is that? When I do it this week, do I fill it out for 2 weeks or just 1 week? And the other thing I will say is, even if you missed the check-in deadline, you can still check in. It's just if you want that guaranteed response from us as your coaches, that's just our requirement that we ask you to do it within that window. Because obviously, there's a lot of you guys in this program. We're trying to get through it, and I end up working a lot of weekends. But obviously, I would really rather, for instance, Kat not do loads of weekends. I'd like her to be able to shut down. So that's why we asked that 9 o'clock Friday deadline. But my life spills over. So you probably will hear from me if you're coached by me on a weekend, but I try my best. But this is it. So even if you miss it, you can still do it. You can still do it. Even if you can only get to it on a Saturday or a Sunday or whatever, and you think, you know what, I just want to check in to offload, I'm still going to see it. And even if you message me and say, I'm not like, do you know what I mean? I can't get the deadline this week. I'm going to do it for my own self accountability, but I just also want you to know what's going on with me. Then I'm going to look at it. Do you know what I mean? Just you might need to make me aware that you've done it a bit late in case we've got through them all and we don't notice that a new one has come in that time frame. But please, use all parts of this service, guys. Like, it is honestly here. The more you lean into this, I promise you, the more you will get out of this. And we love you and support every single one of you. Like, our goal is for you all to thrive in this program. That's what we want for you. So I feel like we got deep. We got deep there. But Josie, please go and fill out that check-in, or please notify me of everything, anything that you want me to know. And the same goes for anybody else in this program. If you suffer in silence, it's not good for you, and it's definitely not good for us either. That's not what we want. But does anybody else have any further questions at this point? Anything else that you want to ask? We're figuring it out with the tech this week, and it will take a little bit of teething, a little bit of new habit building in the habit tracker. So again, we're not expecting 100% perfection. Same as everything we do, we're just aiming for the best that you guys can do. Right, peace out all. I'm gonna love you and leave you, and somebody remind me to share this Zoom first thing tomorrow morning. Because sometimes it's like 3 days late and I'm like, oh, helpful. But yeah, it's amazing as always to see so many of you engaged and on. And like I say, make the most of us, guys. This is what we're here for. Have a fucking fantastic week. Enjoy the new daily habit tracker. Any other questions on anything, pop them through the group chat and we'll get to them as soon as we can. Mwah! Love you all. Bye.